Greetings. Before you listen to this killer interview, the Doctor and I here at FANTASM Podcast would like to thank Ben Scrivens of Fright for his hospitality. So sit back and enjoy, because if you don't enjoy what you're about to hear, you're already dead.
Hey, this is Ben Scrivens from Fright, and you are listening to the FANTASM Podcast.
This is Reggie Bannister from Phantasm, and you're listening to the FANTASM Podcast with an F, with Corey and Vincent. Hot as love.
Hey, this is Chris Barnes from 6 Feet Under. You're listening to Corey Gorechrist and Dr. Vincent West on the Phantasm Podcast.
Phantasm.
Hi, this is Kenny Potter. You're listening to the Phantasm Podcast. Keep listening, or I'll kill you.
Hey Ben, it's Corey and Vincent from FANTASM Podcast. How you doing?
Hey guys, how you doing?
Good.
Doing good.
But it's really an honor to have you on.
Oh, thanks man, I appreciate it.
And we kind of know a little bit of the backstory of Fright Rags. We know it started in 2003, so I guess brush up the fans here of how that all came about.
Yeah, so you're right, it started in 2003. I started it, I put up the website over Labor Day weekend. Really, it was out of boredom. I was a graphic designer at a job that it was actually a really small company. We made laptop bags. It was actually a great company. I was like the third person hired, and
wow.
So it was really small. And I got to do, like, as the only designer, I got to do all the web and print and photos and all that stuff, which is great.
Awesome.
I had a lot of freedom, but I also got bored at it because, I mean, after about a year, it was like, it's just laptop bags, and they're cool, but
but it's not, you know, it's not Victor Crowley holding up someone's head with an axe.
Right, exactly. And, you know, so during that time, you know, I spent a lot of my free time kind of poking around online, and I would always be a part of the message boards and stuff, and
sure.
I started looking up for people that made, like, cool props, like Michael Myers masks and Jason hockey masks and Freddy gloves and stuff, and I just found this great community of people that made some great stuff. And one of the forums, I was on a few of them, one of the forums I was on was called Night Owl Productions, and it was run by a guy named Justin Mabry out of Mississippi.
Right. And
he made the best Michael Myers masks, and he actually had some screen-used props that he would cast off of for Jason and all that stuff. And I just gravitated toward that community, and I just thought, man, I really want to do something, you know? I just got my creative juices flowing, and I wasn't about to make masks or anything, but although that would have been fun, I was living in an apartment at the time. I don't think my wife and girlfriend at the time would have appreciated that, but I thought, you know, I actually grew up kind of wearing some interesting types of t-shirts, but they never had any horror shirts, and then I came up with an idea, what would Jason do, WW Hockey Mask D, and scoured the internet, couldn't find anybody who had done that, at least not on any place I searched, so I thought, well, this is kind of cool, and I came up with a couple other ideas. There was a Michael Myers one and just a hockey mask one, and I showed Justin. He's like, dude, you should post these on my forum. He's like, let me post them for you, maybe people will be interested in buying them as a shirt. I'm like, that's kind of cool, thanks, man. And he posted them, and people were just like, oh, I'd buy that. So I don't know what possessed me, but I was just like, what the hell, man? I spent $600, which I didn't have. It was on my credit card. We were getting ready for a wedding, so my fiance is like, what the hell are you doing? I'm like, I have no idea, but people want these as shirts. Maybe I'll sell them. So I created a website. I had some knowledge of how to do that with my design background and stuff, so I was able to code a website and get PayPal working, and came up with a name and a basic logo, and pretty much that's how it started. Put it up on Tuesday. I think it was right after Labor Day. My first customer was Joe Scrivens in California. And
Thank you, Joe, for that. Awesome.
Yes. And anyway, it was just a thrill to get, somebody just sent me money for something that I made, or at least had a hand in making.
Right.
And that was just so wild. And this was before Facebook and before Friendster and MySpace and all that. It was just,
that's right.
There was no real social media. It was just message boards and stuff. It just felt really, really cool. So I just kept at it.
It's awesome. And then, it's crazy how you just kind of did it out of nothing, or just out of sheer ambition, and just you wanted to put something out there. And as crazy as it's gotten now, most people, horror fans know what Fright Rags, is, and I go to conventions a lot, and I see people wearing those Fright Rag shirts all over the place.
And I'm a human billboard for you, so
yeah,
that's awesome.
Vincent, every day I'm like, oh, which Fright Rag shirt is he wearing today?
Yes.
That's awesome. I appreciate it.
Oh, yeah.
It's a trip. Like, the first show I ever did was in 2005.
Okay.
And it was Monster Mania at Cherry Hill. And,
that's crazy, yeah. The Jersey one.
Yeah, the Jersey one. And that's back when I was putting the logo on the back of the shirts. Like, right in the very back, you could see with the logo on it. So
right.
I remember leaving the table before the show started, after I set up and I had to go eat dinner or whatever. And I was coming down, and there was a bunch of people lined up to get into the show. And as I was walking up, they were all not facing me. Obviously, they were waiting in line, and I just saw all these Fright Rags logos, and I was like, "Whoa!"
Yeah.
It kind of hit me. That was 2005, and I was still doing it on my own out of my house at the time.
Yeah,
and it was just a really weird thing, because it's really the first time I'd seen them kind of out in the wild.
Right.
So that was a trip.
It's awesome. When did it become like a full-fledged huge thing? Was that 2008?
Yeah, so, it grew steadily. The thing is, the first few years, if I got, I would release stuff, and I'd have, again, a newsletter, or, I'd have my friend's forum or whatever to post on, but other than that, it really was hard to get noticed.
Sure.
So I would get maybe, I don't know, an order or two a week. There'd be a couple weeks where I wouldn't get an order, and I'd be like, maybe I should just give it up. We're moving to a house. I should just maybe stop this. And then finally, around 2005, I realized, you know what? I wanted to get another job anyway, but I really liked Fright Rags, and I really just asked myself the question, if I woke up tomorrow making the same amount of money with Fright Rags as I could with my job, what would I pick?
Right.
And the answer was abundantly clear. So I trashed my portfolio. I didn't update my resume. I just said, screw it, I'm just going to keep working at this. So
awesome.
It didn't happen overnight after that, but it repositioned my focus to where I could just focus on Fright Rags solely, and that's what I did. So it got to a point in 2008. It was late 2007. It was August 2007.
Okay.
My friend had asked me, hey, aren't you going to quit your job or something? I'm like, I don't know if I can, man. All my money went right back into the business. I didn't really know if I could quit my job. So, and I just had a child, and it's just one of those things where I don't know. No one tells you now you can quit your job. It's not. So at the time, online savings accounts were 5% interest, which was ridiculous. It's so nowadays it's nothing like that. And I thought, all right, this is what I'm going to do. I already had a business account, so I thought, you know what, I'm going to get one of these online savings accounts at a bank that I have no affiliation with whatsoever. And I'm just going to have what I make at my job now, I'm going to have it pulled out of my Fright Rags account and put in that account automatically every Friday. And I'm just going to let it roll, see what happens. And I did, and I didn't think about it. Even the card they gave me to withdraw money from that account, I had cut up because I didn't really want to know how much was in that account.
Wow.
And I just did it, and I don't want to say I forgot about it, but I just literally let it ride, and I kept doing what I did. I worked full time. I worked on Fright Rags. I didn't stop. And then come January, I had seen an opening for a design firm that needed a junior designer, and to be fair, I was overqualified at the time.
Right.
And I applied, and this is the firm that I really liked, and she's like, well, you're kind of overqualified for the job. I'm like, yeah, but I need to quit my job and do my own thing, and if you're only asking for 20 hours a week, I could totally swing that, because I wasn't really sure if I could just bail on my job and do this full time. So it was around February I started this other job. I quit my full-time job it ended up being March of that year.
Right.
2008. So that, and I had I had about 6 months of income built up at that point. So it was a nice cushion, and I had not, honestly, it gave me the confidence to leave my job because it never really affected me to pull that money aside.
Right.
So I had the confidence enough to quit my full-time job. I went to work part-time, so that gave me some money. But to be honest, after I think 3 months there, I quit because I couldn't. I would literally get to my job and check my Fright Rex email. Like that's.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, this is crazy. I got it. And then she was totally understanding. She was really nice about it. She knew. She just knew. She's like, yeah, you got to go do your thing. So really, since that summer of 2008, I've been doing this full time.
It's amazing, man.
It is. That's great.
Thanks.
I want to ask you about a specific shirt that you did. It literally, because there's so much stuff that you make that I enjoy, that I buy, and I'm just love it. I wear it daily, but human billboard for you. But the Street Hawk shirt, man, that was my favorite show growing up as a kid.
Dude, you know what? I'm so happy to hear you say. I don't mean to interrupt, but I just want to say I'm happy to hear you say that because. Nobody knows what Street Hawk is. Nobody. So I thank you for saying that.
Oh, I know very well about Jesse Mock. I'm a big fan.
He woke me up in the middle of the night when that print came out. He's like, "Did you see that fucking Street Hawk shirt?" And I was like,
I was like,
"It's like, man, I wish I knew what that was. I'm just like a younger guy, but like, it looks awesome." And he's like, "Dude, I'm already getting that." I was like, "Yeah, I know you did." Anytime I hear of a Fright Rag shirt, he's like, "Yeah, I already ordered it." I'm like, "Okay."
That's great.
That
is awesome.
But yeah, that blew my mind. It's like,
well, thank you.
There's always creative and cool stuff, the horror stuff. But I thought that and the Running Man shirt.
Yeah, that's cool too. Yeah.
That's my favorite Schwarzenegger film. I love that movie.
Oh, it's so good.
It is. It's just awesome. But yeah, the Street Hawk, that blew my mind. And I'll tell you something cool. You probably know this. I didn't know this, but I'll share this with you in case you don't. Rex actually bought that shirt.
What?
He did.
How do you know that?
I'm in a forum that he pops on frequently with, and yes, he has it.
You know what? I'm actually looking this up right now.
I have no idea. I have no idea which guy on the forum bought it for him.
Oh, someone bought it for him.
Yeah,
okay.
They sure did.
And he's got it?
He's got the shirt, which is the coolest thing in the world. Because I went on there, spreading the word. I was like, "There's a Street Hawk shirt."
Yeah.
And they're just like, "Yeah, it's totally cool." And then some guy pops up. It's like, "Yeah, I've already got it for him."
Did he say anything about it?
Yeah, he loves it. I mean, I haven't.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So he has the shirt. That's no joke.
Wow, that's seriously cool. I did not know that.
On the Street Hawk forum, because like I said, I don't know why, I just love that show. I love the Tangerine Dream music. I loved it as a kid. It's very...
the best. I mean, it's funny because as a kid, I loved that show, and I had the Street Hawk toy motorcycle that you revved up and pushed him down, and he went. And I loved that thing, and I ended up busting it because I was trying to get all the carpet that was stuck in it out there. and it took me years to get another one. I actually have two now. One's broken, and one that I let my son and I play with. But I love that thing because I could do wheelies. Like you could pop off of jumps, and it would land on its wheels and keep going. It's the coolest thing. But yeah, it's funny. It was only on for one season, and it's 13 episodes, I think it was.
Yep.
Is that how many? And it's I still remember that as a kid. It's Knight Rider on two wheels. It's great.
Yeah, and you know what? I remember. I think my favorite thing about my favorite episode was that Second Self with George Clooney's his friend that comes and he ends up being the guy that's hired to kill him. It's the best episode in the world. And if I'm not mistaken, I think that was one of the first things he had ever done.
Oh, I think it was. If not the first, it was definitely among early Clooney stuff.
But I've got the Shout Factory DVD set of it, and I've got bootlegs of it that were shot off of some Canadian television that I bought at a Comic-Con thing that I went to years ago, and yeah, absolutely love it. I remember just...
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so that's... Yeah, I don't know. I just thought I was like, my God, I'm not the only one. It was the nicest thing in the world to see that shirt
That's great.
But yeah,
funny, I made that. Yeah,
I'm not pulling your leg about it. He's actually got that shirt, though.
That you know what? That's pretty awesome. That's really
Street
cool.
Hawk has the Street Hawk shirt that you made.
Oh,
So.
nice.
Yep.
I'd say if I had I guess one of my favorites that you put out was the Tarman shirt, because you actually had William Stout do the art for that.
Yeah.
Which, Return of the Living Dead's one of my favorite films, so that was really cool that you brought him on to do art. That was just insane.
Thanks. Yeah, he actually, when the first one we did was with the let me think. Oh no, it was that long time ago when we did it with the poster and the shirt.
Yeah.
And I talked to him about rights or whatever, and he's like, "Well, why don't I do the artwork for you?" I'm like, okay, sure thing. And then he did another one for us later on when we did the mask.
Yeah, the mask was really cool.
Which was really cool. So, yeah, it was great. He's a really cool dude. We got to hang out a little bit at MondoCon a few years ago.
Yeah.
And he's just a really cool guy. So, yeah, we were very fortunate. And especially, he had done the Rock and Roll High School poster, and that's one of my favorite movies.
Oh, yeah.
And obviously, he's well known for tons of things, but it just, for me personally, Ramones, Rock and Roll High School, William Stout, it's all these worlds colliding. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was definitely one of my favorites. That and the first wave of the Silent Night, Deadly Night that you came in a little packaging, and it had the Linnea Quigley on the the deer antlers as a statue. I thought that was really nice. And then, of course, you guys got another shirt coming out for the Blu-ray release, which is awesome. Yeah,
we're doing the Blu-ray release this year for the one that Shout Factory's doing, Screen Factory's doing. We're doing that cover as a shirt, and then we've got lots more Silent Night, Deadly Night stuff coming up the next couple of years.
Oh, that's awesome.
So every season we'll be doing something, but this year we're just doing the Blu-ray cover. It'll be on a shirt, possibly a hoodie, and maybe even a baseball tee, but we haven't decided yet.
Nice. Beautiful. Yeah, it's funny. Brian Wilson, the guy that plays Billy, he's going to be at Horror Hound in November, and he's going to be in the Santa costume and photo.
Oh yeah, he was there at he was at Monster Mania. I didn't go to this one. I mean, we were there as a company. Fright was there, but I personally wasn't there, and that was probably the one thing that I missed the most about not being there was him in the Santa costume taking photo ops. I would have done that. I don't usually do photo ops, so holy crap, is that a cool one or what?
Yeah,
that's one you drive out for.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. As far as conventions, how many have you done? You personally gone out and?
Personally, I've probably done. Let me think here real quick. Probably about 50, 60, 70 of them. I don't know.
Okay.
We usually traditionally right now we do Monster Mania twice a year, and that's at Cherry Hill.
Right.
We've been doing that since 2005, and then there's been a few years where we've done other shows in conjunction with it. It's hard to get out there now. We've got more of a staff where we can probably do more shows, but it's it's one of those things where a lot of shows are very close together in time frame, and they're also very far away. So for us to drive, and it takes you're going to take a day to drive, and then it's 3 days of show, and then another day to drive, and you're out 5 days right there.
Yeah, in New York going to Jersey, that's an easy thing.
Well, it's still 6 hours for us, though.
Sure.
So, because we're upstate New York, so that's still a jaunt. But yeah, you're right. It's not, it's not crazy, but it's like Indianapolis. We can do Cincinnati. We've done that show before, Horror Hound. I love Horror Hound. I want to do that more.
Right.
But they're indie shows. They're a little bit far for us. It's weird. It's a weird distance to drive. It's too long to drive, but it's also kind of short to fly. It's this weird thing. And when you start flying stuff, then you got to ship stuff, and it becomes a whole other ordeal. So we want to do more. Also, I don't, to be honest, as much as I love shows, I also don't like being away all the time.
Yeah.
And I do enough traveling as it is where it just, it gets crazy. Sometimes you just want to be all right, we got to just settle down. Or, we can split it up, obviously, but
sure,
it's just hard when people are gone out of the office, so.
Yep. Now, I know I've only seen pictures, because I'm originally from Long Island, New York, and I lived upstate near Cooperstown and stuff. So.
Oh yeah.
But I had already moved down south before you started up with the Fright Rag, so I haven't gotten a chance to go out there. But I've seen pictures of it in the store. You guys have a store out there, right?
We have an office. We don't have actually a storefront. Yeah. So if you've seen pictures, you've probably seen our office.
It looks amazing. You got the VHS set up, and you got a lot of the artwork from the shirts on the the posters, and it's awesome, man.
Yeah, it's actually, I don't know if you knew this, but it used to be the old city morgue.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I think I read about that. You can still see the drains where the blood and shit goes. That's nice.
So our warehouse is where they kept the bodies in the autopsy room and all that, and then where our offices are upstairs, the coroner is still up there.
It's a nice touch.
Yeah, it is, and it's, it totally was serendipitous. It wasn't something I was actually seeking out. But when I found out, I was like, I gotta have this place. I mean, it was already a gorgeous place to begin with. I already wanted it, but as soon as the landlord said that, I was like, when can I move in?
That's awesome.
I wanted to ask you, do you come up with every shirt initially, and then you just kind of run with it from there, or how does that process work?
It definitely varies. So, I mean, obviously we're always putting out lots of stuff, and we work with a lot of different artists. So, it really depends. We work with some of our artists. What we have to do is give them I'm trying to think of a good one. I'm trying to think of one. Okay, so for instance, I'm looking at this one right now, the Halloween version 1 that we released. It was last year, but we reprinted it for yesterday's yesterday's release.
Right.
And it's Michael Myers with the butcher knife, and Jamie Lee is in front, on the staircase and everything. And that was, Justin Osborne's one of our artists that we use a lot, and he's already done a Halloween shirt for us, and we wanted to do another one. And I was like, dude, I'm not exactly sure what to do, but we got to do another shirt. What do you think? He's like, let me come up with something. So there are lots of times, especially with someone like him, where I just go, dude, do a design for this movie, and you can't use this likeness, or you can use this likeness, and go for it. And then he'll send me back an idea, and I'll either have changes, or if I love it, I just have to send it to the licensor and make sure they're good with it, and then I let them run with it. But there are also times with other artists where we have a lot of changes, or we send them exact designs. Like, actually, in the case of Justin Osborne, the Jaws shirt, the Chum Bucket shirt, which is a shirt where you're looking out of the shark's mouth. So, we have the Jaws license, obviously, but you can't use Roy Scheider or Richard Dreyfuss or Quint, so we, Robert Shaw. So we sat around, and we were sitting here in the office going, the hell are we going to do? We have a shark. Great. Okay, what are we going to do? We started brainstorming, and I was just like, remember that scene where the shark comes up and he's throwing chum in there? He's actually not looking at the shark. That's the whole idea. That's the whole point of the scene. He's not looking at the shark. Like, what if we were looking out of the shark's mouth? And then that way it works with the black of the shirt, because you could be inside the mouth and it looks like all cavernous, so it would fade to the shirt color. And then out of the middle, you'd see him, but you wouldn't see his face because he's turned away.
It's perfect.
So it was just kind of this moment, and then I actually sketched it out really roughly for Justin, and I took a picture with my phone and emailed it to him. I said, that's what I want to do. And then he just took that and ran with it, so it was all him after that. But so it's really a collaborative process. I like, unless I really have something specific, or we're like kind of like need to come up with some good things, I'll sit and watch the movie and start coming up with ideas. Unless we have that, I like the artist to kind of run with it, because we use people for a reason and their style for a reason. And I like when they're jazzed about something and you want to be creative, usually that turns out the best work, because they're using their talent, like, yes, I like being a creative director, and kind of, if there's something I really want to see, I will hire for that. But I mean, it's like hiring a plumber and then sitting there going, no, tighten that, no, don't tighten that. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
I like to let them run with it, at least in the beginning, and then we can kind of pull back from there if we have to. Otherwise, sometimes I'm just like, well, yeah, that's amazing, and let's just do that,
Right. Has there ever been a license that you tried to get and they just will not cooperate with you?
Well, I can tell you, there's a caveat to this, but for honestly, getting Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street, so, for us, we've done those shirts before. We've done limited versions of those shirts, but those were all not licensed, and pretty much, unless you see it in the big box store, none of the ones out there are licensed, because they're not. Warner Brothers is not giving the license out to just anybody.
Right. Sure.
And we stopped doing that. We stopped doing stuff like that a while ago, and that's why you probably haven't seen it. Unless it's a parody, like the Shelley shirt we did the other day.
Oh, that was beautiful.
Which was a parody. Unless it's something like that, we were not going to do it unlicensed. We made a decision not to just to do what everybody else is doing. So,
right.
And it's not without trying. I mean, we've I was in LA last month visiting Warner Brothers, and they're great people, they're really nice, and they're just like, it's not the time right now for them, because they already have other licensees, which are these bigger kind of wholesale companies like you see in Hot Topic, or other or like Old Navy, or whatever, which they're not doing anything really creative with it, but I'm sure they're making them plenty of money, and quite frankly, it's not a really big priority for Warner Brothers. They have a few other movies that are a little bit bigger than Friday the 13th.
Right.
But for us, I mean, for any horror fan, I mean, that's really, to me, is one of the last sort of bastion of where we want to go, because it's great we've been able to work. And Warner Brothers has more than just Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street. They have It, they have Shining, they have tons of properties that we would love to sink our teeth into in an official way, and they're just not willing at the moment. And that doesn't mean that won't change. It's just right now they're not.
Right.
So, and again, that's up to them. So that's one of the ones that sort of I think about a lot. I'm like, man, if we could just, because people ask for it all the time. I mean, that's all people want. And again, we've done stuff in the past that people are going, why aren't you going to do it again? Well, it's because that was different 3, 4, 5 years ago, know?
I love that New Blood shirt you did. I wear that thing weekly.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, that was a few years ago. I remember that one, the side of Jason's head, right?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I like that one too.
And he did a part 2 one.
Yeah, we've done a few different ones. We've also done ones that were a little more generically kind of Jason and not so on point. I mean, we've kind of, but again, that's not where we want to go, in terms of, if we're going to do it again, then we're going to do it, and we're going to do it the right way, and that's...
And the Shelley thing was perfect. That was
hilarious. Yeah, I bought that one.
It's a beautiful design, too.
Which one?
The Shelley one, it was awesome.
Oh, thanks.
That's
funny.
Funny.
That one just was funny because we wanted to do something for Friday the 13th, and I'm friends with Larry, and I just asked him about it, and he's like, that would be hilarious, and he's like, does anybody want to buy a Shelley shirt? I'm like, dude, you don't even know. Like,
it's the best part of, the third film.
It's my favorite sequel. It's honestly my favorite Friday the 13th movie, and as much as I love all the other ones, I mean, I do, but that one I've watched so much as a kid. I actually bought when my friend and I were young, we would go up to our mom and pop store like a mile away, and we would rent, obviously, VHS like every day in the summer and everything. And I probably rented Friday the 13th Part 3 more than any other movie in that place.
Oh, yeah.
And when they were closing years later, I walked in there and I said, I want to buy that tape, the actual tape that I rented as a kid. And she's like, well, I don't know. When's the last time it was rented out? Check. It was like 2 years before that, and it was my friend that had rented that. I'm like, yeah, this thing isn't making you any money anymore. I'm like, how much do you want for it? She's like, $7. I'm like, sold. So I still have that's like one of my favorite things that I own. It's like, it's on our VHS wall. It's just cool because it was the tape. It's not even like a tape I bought. It's like, no, it's
tape you first saw and you rented, and
exactly. So it's just kind of a neat thing.
And speaking of that, I think it's cool. You guys put out, it's all the way up until Halloween. You have that Fright Rags. It's like a Blockbuster membership card. Thing that you guys got going on right now. I think that's pretty neat.
Thanks.
Because I still have my Blockbuster card.
Oh, nice. Yeah, it would have been cool if we laminated them. That would have been the one thing that it would have been fun to do.
I'll take it and get it laminated.
That's true. You can still get it laminated. Yeah, we did something like that last year called Fright Rags Video, and it was just a fun thing to do during October. And we thought, we should do that again. I'm like, oh my god, make it look like a Blockbuster card. That'd be hilarious,
That's awesome.
Everyone remembers that stuff,
Hell yeah. And then, have you gotten a chance to play the Friday the 13th video game?
No, I don't have a system to play it on, and if I did, honestly, as much as I want to play it, I'm a little scared that I would end up, like, not stopping.
To be honest with you, it's consumed me.
Yeah,
I'm at level almost 60 now, so it's like
I'd love to try it at someone else's house, so it wouldn't be something that was in my house, you know?
Yeah.
But I seriously, I don't have time to do anything else. If I started playing video games, I think that would ruin.
So be like, hey, where did Ben go? Why aren't any shirts coming out? Like, well, we bought a PlayStation.
Exactly. And honestly, I don't know. I've got so many other things that I would love I mean,
I
just finished a movie theater room in my house, and I haven't been able to watch anything in here yet. So,
I think I saw that on Instagram that you had the theater ready and stuff. It was pretty cool.
Thanks. Yeah, I just got it. It finished last week, and I'm putting up some of these. I had made these custom acoustic panels with some of our T-shirt designs, so I was just putting those up.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a lot of fun, and you can obviously enjoy it with the family and stuff. So it'll be something we will enjoy. But it got done, and I've been out of town. We had this event last weekend. I haven't been home long enough. I mean, I put on a movie for like 5 minutes, and I have to turn it off.
Right.
So I can't wait to just sit in here and watch a movie one night and not have anything else to do. But it's a good problem to have, so I'm not complaining.
Right. And now around Halloween time, what are some of your essentials that you have to watch? I mean, there's the obvious ones like the Halloween and all that, but what are some of your personal favorites that you would recommend somebody that's like, hey, if you can recommend somebody?
I guess the one movie that I have to watch every year that might not be on everyone's list. I mean, there's like you said, there's Halloween. There's Halloween 4 for me, and Halloween. Well, actually, 1, 2, 3, and 4 at least for sure. Yeah. And then Trick or Treat, of course. I love that movie.
Yeah.
But the one that I would say that is absolutely a yearly watch that I will not go a year without watching that might not be on everyone's list is Silver Bullet.
It's awesome. Everybody,
Yeah.
I met Gary Busey a couple months ago. Actually, it's pretty cool.
Nice. That's awesome.
He's very friendly. I'll say that. He's a trip.
He's a character.
Yeah.
He is a character.
You try to feed.
It's funny. Go ahead.
So you try to feed my dog like an old cookie or something?
Oh,
it was a milk bone, but it was like, I don't know. The dog shouldn't have eaten it.
It sounds like Busey.
Oh, it was a cupcake wrapper. Yeah, that's what it was.
He at a convention he went to he was going to be at the VIP the VIP party, I think it was, right. And he had to make an appearance. He came down in his underwear and he just grabbed a bunch of ice cream and left. Like I don't even think he talked to anybody.
That's amazing.
I have a poster. It's the VHS release poster that they would hang in like video stores, and
awesome.
I had him sign it, and he wrote, "The werewolves are dead." And I'm like, this is the craziest shit, but it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. I have it hanging up in my house.
Yeah,
like this is the best because it's such a Busey thing to do.
Right.
And Silver Bullet. I love that movie. I mean, I know obviously that's part of it takes place in Halloween, but that's not even why I watch it. I think I saw it when I was 11, and I was home alone. My parents would go on Wednesday nights. They would go to choir practice at their churches, and my sister would go with them. Right. My brothers were out of the house at the time, so I would be home alone, and I was like 10, 11 years old.
Right.
And that was until like 10:30 at night on a Wednesday. So that happened to just be the time when our local Fox channel or affiliate, whatever, would show horror movies.
Yeah.
So I would watch horror movies and on a school night alone in the house, and one of them was Silver Bullet. And I remember one of the things that affected me the most of this because they were showing up during the commercials. They were showing a preview for Halloween 2 because that was going to be shown on Halloween night.
Awesome.
And I just remember that movie, just for whatever reason, just stuck with me, and every year I would watch it, once or twice. So yeah, that's definitely a go-to. And the other go-to would be, it's not really a movie, but it's Garfield's Halloween Adventure. I have to watch that at least several times.
Right.
That's classic.
Cool. Yeah.
Well, and obviously Charlie Brown, but I mean Garfield, man, that Halloween Adventure is just the best. Yeah,
the doctor here refers to them as wubby films. Ones you watch that warm you because you were a kid. And all that stuff, like, Hocus Pocus would be one of mine, and, I actually just watched that other, there's the Gene Simmons Ozzy Trick or Treat, and then there's the other Trick or Treat, the anthology one. And that's I just watched that for the first time this year.
Oh, did you? Isn't that amazing?
It is really cool, yeah. It's a lot of good.
It's like an instant classic.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. And then now they have Tales from Halloween. That's a really good one, too, now.
That was pretty good. Yep, I saw that, too.
And you got to watch the creep shows. I like all the anthology ones where you get different stories, all in one, like a Tales from the Crypt style. But, so your first horror film was Halloween.
Yes. Yep, I was 4 years old. It was 1981. I was trick-or-treating, and my parents picked me and my brothers and my sister up, and they're like, hey, we're going to go over to the Garfinellas. They were family friends of ours. They owned a deli downtown, and they lived in the back of it. And we went in their house, the back of the deli, and went to their living room area. I don't know, my brothers and my sister just went off to hang out with their kids, and I was bored. I was only 4, and I was counting my candy or whatever I was doing. I just tugged at my mom's her shirt or whatever, and I was like, "Hey, can we go home now?" And I just remember looking down at me, going, like, "Just go watch TV. Just go watch TV." And I was like, "All right." So I walked over and I turned on the TV, and literally it was the beginning of Halloween.
Awesome.
And what I didn't realize, obviously I was 4 at the time, I didn't realize it was the first network premiere of the movie, because they had shot TV scenes for it to be shown on TV, and then Halloween 2 was premiering in theaters that year. But yeah, I just sat and watched the whole thing, and honestly, from that day on, I was just like, I want to see more of this. Like, this is really cool.
Now, is that still your favorite horror film?
It is by far my favorite horror film. It's actually my favorite film of all time. It's any genre, like that film is number one. I think, obviously it's because I saw it so young, and it just affected me so much.
Did you, I meant to ask you this a second ago, but have you ever done like a Sammy Kerr trick-or-treat shirt before?
We have. We actually did one years ago.
Oh, I didn't know about
years
that.
ago. But we might be doing another one. We've been wanting to do another one for a while. We actually have a design in the can for it. We have to finish it. It's pretty much done, though. We wanted to add text and other things. We wanted to make it like a tour shirt.
That's awesome.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's possible that'll come out next year. We always, the thing is, there's really, to my knowledge, there's really no, rights to that movie. I looked for them. There's, even if you look on the DVD, there's no copyright on the DVD. There's nothing to really point ownership to anything. So we may end up just releasing one someday, and just, another one, and just doing it. But I'll probably want to turn over a few more stones first before we did it. But, yeah, that movie's great. It's a great film.
I'll tell you something funny I've actually been trying to track down people from the film, like Mark Price or anybody we could get on this podcast. So that's something I've been working on in my spare time. I'm obsessed with that movie. I bought a German Blu-ray of it.
Oh, I have that one.
Yeah, man. The snap case.
NSM Records.
Yeah, it's great. That's a great one. Yeah, I bought that too, because I was like, damn, I gotta have that.
I just not tell them when they're going to put it out. I think Vestron will, or somebody will eventually put out an official release.
I had asked a guy at Arrow Home Video about the licensing on that movie, and apparently the way that I read it was that, like what you were saying, it's almost like there's rights for it, but who has the rights?
Well, that's it. Someone owns it. I mean, for sure. It's just, there's really no real, these movies are so small, and they were bought and distributed, and no one else knows the rights to these things. It's crazy. So, yeah. And I think that's probably why there hasn't been an official release, really, of it, aside from that DVD, which I don't think was official.
Right.
I don't know about the German one. I'm just saying the one that we all have with Ozzy and then Gene Simmons on the cover, which they're in the movie for 3.5 seconds.
Right.
I honestly, I would be surprised if that were actually an official release. Nothing on that tells me it is. So, I think that's one of those that's going to be that, and a few other films that just seem to be lost with time.
Sure. This is why I was glad, because obviously, Phantasm is my favorite. And, I was so happy when they remastered it and put it back out, and, it looks fantastic. And films like that, and Trick or Treat especially, need to stick around, because you don't really know when people like films like that until you ask them, and
that's right.
It's nice to have the shirts to be like, yeah, I like this stuff. And if you really look around, you'll see at horror conventions, you can find horror t-shirts, but I think with Fright Rags and what you guys do, you have a specific style that really makes it, the presentation is perfect for what you want out of the movie itself, I guess, is the best way to put it. So you guys kind of, I think, set a standard and raise the bar.
The shirts are so comfortable too.
And they're very comfortable.
I've got really bad eczema, so they're super soft, so it's always cool.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. It's definitely something where, we look at what we've done, which is great, but we're always trying to figure out how to best ourselves and do something that, if we can sit around and go, whoa, that would be amazing. or like I would totally wear that, like then we know we're onto something. And that's really where because we're fans ourselves, and we're all fans of different stuff, even at the office. So we try to scratch that itch as much as we can, because that's really, obviously we listen to what people want too, but it's just like, man, what would I want to see? Like what would be cool? And then you just kind of go from there. And I think, we're only as good as the last shirt release, like, and that's where, we released Halloween yesterday, and that was great, and people loved it.
Oh, it looks fantastic, that collection.
Thank you, I appreciate that. But yeah, my thing is, all right, we're already planning, obviously, the next several releases, but it's always just constantly trying to figure out how to one-up ourselves, because that's, that's what we want to do.
Yeah, and I love, there's actually, I think there's a resurgence of old school horror, with the Blu-ray releases coming out, and people can see it in a whole new way. They used to see it when you can rent it at the video store, and now you can watch it in your awesome TV or whatever, and it looks great. And it opens it up to new fans and people that haven't heard of this stuff before, and it keeps it around for us. And then, I think Fright Rags and what you guys do kind of help that train keep going with horror and the old school stuff, and
with the stuff Screen Factory's doing and Arrow's doing and Vestron, those Vestron release things.
I think having the shirts and just absorbing all of it as fans really keeps it going, and it's pretty awesome. It's actually crazy to look on it and really put it into perspective how all this is molding together.
It is wild. When you can get Rawhead Rex on Blu-ray, that movie crazy. Was relegated to the bootleg bin for years,
and like Slaughterhouse too. Slaughterhouse was like a video store gem, and then now it's in my house on Blu-ray, and it looks great.
It's so great. It is really a good time to be alive. All of these things can live on, like you said, and obviously, I appreciate what you said about our shirts helping that too, and of course you've got other things like NECA doing toys, and and Mezco and Mondo doing posters, like all of these companies doing these great things. It's like there's so much cool stuff out there. It's just crazy.
And you think, it's I think there's a shortage of newer horror coming out as far as like really good, because they're still kind of on the remake scene, and it's hard to come up with. Horror fans are kind of hard to please. They really are, and we're all three of us are fans, and we know that it's hard to please us with new horror movies. But there's a lot of, it's nice to have the old stuff, because I can watch that a million times and it doesn't get old. I don't really need anything new, but I wouldn't mind to see something new and different. That's why the Hatchet movies were good, because you got Kane Hodder there, so you kind of have a connection to it. But it's definitely a throwback, but it doesn't necessarily, feel like they intended it to be a throwback. It just is, and it feels good. It's not like it doesn't look cheap or anything. It's definitely really nice and gory.
I agree. And honestly, I think it also has a lot to do with the fact that we watched these movies when we were kids.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So, that nostalgia factor, I don't know, I think it just has a lot to do with it. I don't know, kids nowadays, what they're going to watch new, that they're going to feel this way in 25 years, that they're going to go into shows to meet who. I think there are great movies coming out now. I've watched a lot of great, from all the new horror I've seen a lot of great ones, but it doesn't affect me the way when I put in Halloween or Friday the 13th or any of the, Return of the Living Dead. When I watch those movies, I'm transported back in time, and you can't do that.
Yeah, and it's just a feeling that you can't replicate with new stuff. New stuff, you kind of have to be open. The Doctor and I love the Conjuring films. Those are really good. And
those are good. I have to admit, I like both of them. Yeah. Yeah,
they have a really good soundtrack, which is important, and it's got just a really good feel to it, and it kind of feels old school in a way, but it's got its own style, and I admire that. It's definitely something, that kind of vibe of films. The Saw movies, it's hit or miss. The gore factor's nice, but I liked having it mixed in there. I just like the 80s cheese and the reckless teenagers saying goofball shit and being really stupid and getting caught in in some chaos. It's nice. And
It's
then
the best.
you throw the gore in that way. You don't just have, they're going to be very killed, and it's going to be a very gory. That's great. I love it. But at the same time, you got to throw in the cheese ball stuff. That's probably
Absolutely.
that's what makes it, glues it together.
I agree.
Do you have is there one, maybe, it doesn't have to be one shirt, but maybe one license or one thing where you were just like, holy shit?
When we got it?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Because as a John Carpenter fan, you've really made me happy and taken a lot of my money, and I'm just happy to give it to you. Because
I'm trying to think. I'm just thinking off the top of my head, but there's definitely been a few where it's taken a while to get. I know this is probably a softball answer, but it is really the truth. We got Halloween. The thing is, it wasn't just because it's my favorite movie. Obviously, it has a lot to do with it, but I tried to get that from 2005 on, and then that was before we were even licensing most stuff. I wrote Malik a Cat. I was in contact with them for years, and we didn't even break through until 2013.
Wow!
And with that license, and to get it finally, and to be fair, it was probably good that it waited that long because we weren't ready for it before that. I didn't have the money, but B, there's just no way I could have done what we even did back in 2013, let alone now. But it makes me incredibly humble and proud to look at a movie that I revere so much and know that we've provided something in the scope of merchandise that is considered official. It's considered part of the whatever catalog of all the things Michael Myers has ever come out on Halloween. It's pretty cool. It's just neat. It's a great feeling, and it's very personal to me. There's been definitely other licenses where I'm like, this is awesome, and we got Garfield's Halloween Adventure a few years ago. That to me was amazing. It didn't really do that good for us, but it was a very personal thing for me, and I was like, wow, this is the coolest.
Yeah.
And even E.T., I was like, that was great because that's probably my second favorite movie of all time. Right. So things like that really make me happy when we get, because it's just, again, another way to be able to express our fandom and passion for these things and hope that other people dig it.
Definitely.
I'm trying to think if there's any other ones. Honestly, it's just anything we can get that really is, I don't know. There's definitely been others. But Halloween probably is just really just the best.
Yeah, I really like not just the line that you just put out, but the one before it with he had some new Halloween 2 and 3 shirts, which I love. The the Dr. Chalice where he's on the phone.
Oh yeah,
that was really cool. It's like a comic book style.
Well, I'll tell you real quick about that one. The thing is with Universal, because the Halloween 2 and Halloween 3 are owned by Universal Studios. So Universal does not. They just don't allow likenesses. Like I said before, with Jaws, there's just you don't get likeness rights with anything, and it really sucks. But if you're able to get permission from those actors and have that in writing, well, then you can. So, with Halloween 3, I'm friends with Tom, so I wrote him, and I was like, hey, would you mind us using you on a shirt? So we worked out a deal. And he's like, yeah, that's cool. And I wrote Universal with that letter, and they're like, go for it. So really,
awesome.
those two shirts that we did, the comic book one, and there was the other one with him holding the mask, and the mask behind him.
Absolutely beautiful.
Thank you. Shirt. Those are the only official Halloween 3 shirts with Tom Atkins on it. Any other official Halloween shirt always uses the same imagery, and it's all the same basic stuff.
Right.
And that was for us, and to me specifically, that was just very cool to know that, this wouldn't have been otherwise possible had he not been okay with it. It's
a fantastic shirt, and he's really the best part of the film for me. I liked, when I first saw it, I liked the masks themselves. I always liked something about them. I just really loved all 3 of the masks in the film. And then, Dr. Chalice was I just love Tom Atkins. I love him in The Fog, and that is just perfect, So that's really cool to have him, especially on that shirt, not just the comic one, but the other one where it's got the green hue in there, and it's him. It's just a really nice print, definitely.
I'll tell you a wave I don't know, maybe you have done it, and I don't know, because I was kind of late in the game, but now I buy everything. So, literally, that's not even a joke, but a Maniac wave.
Maniac. That's one I'd like to do. We've never done it, and part of the reason why we've never done it is, I don't know if this is still true. I'd have to reach out to Sean, but Rotten Cotton had the exclusive license on that for a long time.
Huh.
So we weren't able to even do it even if we wanted to. And that was true for a couple movies, like, for a while it was Pieces, although we were able to work out a deal with Sean and do a piece of shirt.
That shirt was great, too, yeah.
And then Suspiria is one of them, but he has the exclusive, so we can't do Suspiria, which it would be a lot of fun to do. I think I could be wrong now. I don't know. I'd have to reach out to him. That would be a fun one to do, because Maniac is a great film.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of stuff we can pull from that movie.
Oh, yeah.
You get some enamel pins going, and
yeah, that would be pretty
Which
cool.
I want to say that it's crazy now, because the enamel pins just kind of exploded, and now everybody's buying enamel pins, which I like to do. When I go to conventions now, that's like kind of like my new badge for going. I'll get like a couple of pins and stuff.
Nice.
My favorite, I think, you guys did, besides the Jason's Victim run, which is really nice, was the one you did. It sold out in like minutes. Like, it was just gone. It was from Halloween 2, and it was Michael Myers holding up the nurse with the knife, and it actually could pull her up and down.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
We're repressing that one, so that'll be out again.
Perfect.
But yeah, that was Tansky in our office, our product manager. He came up with that. He goes, "Dude, wouldn't it be cool to have him go up and down?" I'm like, "Oh my god, that's brilliant! Yes, let's do it." I'm like, "That is the coolest idea," because that is such a great part in the movie, and he is lifting her up, so it makes sense to move up and down.
It's hands down the coolest pin I've ever seen. That, and there was one. I don't know if you're familiar with London 1888.
Oh yeah, Chris. Yeah, I know Chris.
Yeah, Christopher's really cool. They have one where it's Leatherface, and it's a pin, and it's him shutting the door. I think that's really cool.
Oh, I've seen that.
Yeah,
that's
crazy.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
We actually have one coming out in December. It's a Necronomicon pin that opens up like a book.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's great.
Probably pretty cool. So there's been a lot of Necronomicon ones, but we still have the license from Tom Sullivan, so we decided to do one that looked like a book opening up, and it's actually got pages, not actual pages, but like something on the inside of it too. So.
Awesome. We'll be on the lookout for that in December, guys, for sure.
Cool.
Well, dude, this has been an absolute honor.
Thank you
have
very
you
much.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate you having me on here.
Yeah, this is great. We're huge fans of it, and we know you're a huge horror fan yourself, so it's very cool for you to be a part of this whole thing. It's really, really awesome, and we'll definitely be in touch. We'll keep looking at your stuff, and hopefully keeping our wallets safe so we can get more stuff. Because you never know. It's just like this Thursday, get your stuff. I think the last one I got was the Hellraiser shirt, which is really nice.
Awesome! Thanks.
And it was Midnight Madness,
Oh yeah, that's right. That was a few months ago.
Beautiful
cool,
shirt.
Hey, this is Ben Scrivens from Fright, and you are listening to the Phantasm Podcast.
Awesome, man. Well, this has been really cool, and I'll shoot you the episode whenever we get it up. It shouldn't be long. We'll hopefully share it around and everything. And this has been great. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you guys, and send it to me, and I'll make sure to share it out everywhere.
Awesome, man. We'll be in touch, and if I don't hear from you, then happy Halloween, and hope everything goes well for you.
Thanks, guys. You too.
Okay.
Thanks, man.
Have a good one.
All right, take care. You too. All right.
Thanks for listening, and remember, stay gory.